So let's talk about the voice of God. In the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 3, young Samuel is being mentored under the priest Eli. So young Samuel's mother was barren. She wasn't able to have any children, and she was so grieved that she went to the house of God and she placed her prayers and her tears on the altar, and she asked God to give her a child. And if God was merciful enough to grant her with the blessing of a child, that she would commission her child to God. And so God heard her weeping, and he blessed her with the child. She became pregnant. And when the child was born, she named him Samuel, and she commissioned him to God as she promised. So young Samuel came under the wing of Eli, who's the high priest. Eli is mentoring him, and God has already spoken to Eli, letting him know that Samuel was already set apart. So as young Samuel is growing up, of course, he's a child, so he has to be taught. He thinks like a child. He's growing up. So as young Samuel is sleeping, he hears a voice call his name. And so he runs to Eli, who's up in age, and he's like, yes, you called me? So Eli is like, no, go back to bed. Samuel. So Samuel gets up again, goes to Eli. You called me, I'm here. He said, no, I didn't. So Samuel goes back to bed, and again, he hears the voice. So he runs to Eli, and Eli realizes like, oh, something is happening here. So he stops and he said, God is speaking to you. If you hear that voice again, say, yes, Lord, here am I, or here I am. And so Samuel heard the voice again, and he said, yes, Lord, here I am. And God began to speak to him. It's so important to be able to not only hear, but know the voice of God. Because I always tell you, Satan and demonic energies, they do not play a fair game. They are looking for weaknesses and vulnerabilities to have you make covenants with them so that they can kill, steal, and destroy. Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and so does demonic energies. They will not rest until you are ready to kill yourself or destroy somebody else's life, or both. So hearing the voice of God is imperative in your spiritual walk, and knowing that that voice is God. And the only way that you can quantify that and confirm that that is the voice of God is for you to cling to him, cling to God, stay in your studies, stay in your prayers. Now, as elders, and I consider myself an elder, it is imperative for us to be able to teach these kids, because these kids are having dreams. They already having visions. They are already having demonic experiences. Right now, this dark energy is like a rock star. It's in everybody's songs. It's just something about when you bring up Satan, Lucifer, when you talk about these demons, it just attracts. And maybe it attracts because it wasn't really addressed a lot in church, right? Like, we knew who the devil was. And we knew the names of the devil, Satan, the beast, whatever you want to call him. We knew it was dangerous. We knew about demons. Demons might have been like, you didn't know if you should believe in them or not. But for real, you knew about the lake of fire and all that. But that was it. You weren't really taught that if there's deceptions coming from this energy, what am I to look for? How do I distinguish the voice of God versus the voice of a dark energy? So for one, God isn't going to tell you anything that is destructive. God is not going to, when you pray and you fellowship with God, even if you sad, you have an energy of hope. It's like a renewed hope that, shit is bad today, but I just put my prayers in, so I know whether it's immediate or over the next few days, I know things are going to get better. But see, when you have those dark forces talking in your ear, things don't get better. They tell you how messed up you are. Like when you thinking messed up things about yourself, that other voice is coming behind you like, yep, yep. Oh, I look too fat. I should just, well, maybe if I take these pills and do this, yep, you should. You should. Because then when you post your pictures on social media, then you're going to get all the likes. Or, man, I'm broke. If I just rob this person, or if I just rob this, I'll be good. I mean, you know, this is a company. They got insurance. It's not like they really losing something. Yeah, you should. That's what that second voice is going to say. Because once you in that vortex of unrighteousness, unholiness, and you are acting out on the devil's command, you don't control what happens after that, right? How many times do you hear of stories or see stories on TV, on different TV shows of people who are in prison for life, and all they intended to do, this was just supposed to be a nobody gets hurt type home invasion type robbery, and everything went bad. Whole life destroyed. Not only is their whole life destroyed, people have died in the process. Innocent people. Blood is on that person's hands. So when they sitting in that jail cell where they supposed to, when they are in the place that they supposed to be, or at the lowest level of low, where Satan is constantly pushing them down, you think that voice is still there? Maybe. It might be there telling them you should kill yourself. Because, yeah, you know, if you do that, things are going to be better. That's not God's voice. God don't tell you that. God is going to remind you how loved you are, how many people's lives would be destroyed and not the same if you do something crazy to yourself, if you remove yourself from your family structure. Sometimes all it takes when you going through a dark period, whether it's depression, maybe you're in the depths of depression. You don't really want to talk to nobody when you depressed. It just feels so comfortable being in your little shell, your little bubble, believing that you ain't shit and the world is going to be a better place when you are not in it. It just feels so comfortable. Why is that so? Why is it that things on this side of heaven that clearly will destroy you, when you are not talking to anyone, that energy makes you comfortable in it? But see, as soon as someone interrupts that, or you have a conversation or a phone call comes in, you know, God is going to come in with that intervention. Next thing you know, you get out of your own head. And so you have someone ministering to your spirit, because we all have those lows. We all have been so low that we have no energy to build ourselves back up. Most of the time it's temporary, but for some people it isn't. Some people are stuck right there, like for years. For years. But remember how it feels when someone speaks life into you and reminds
Yes, girl. Yes.
that you the shit. Not that you ain't shit, but girl, nah, heck nah. Nah, I'm coming over there, get dressed. I don't care how you feel. We getting up out of here. Sometimes when you forced to do certain things, it just does something to your spirit, right? It just jolts you to where you can get through the day. So you made it through another day, and now you have a more positive outlook. See, God is always going to put his disciples around you. He's always going to protect you. Only you can take yourself out of that protection. There's no one that can take you out of that protection. But when you don't cling to God, and so you don't know if who's talking to you is God's voice or if it's a demonic voice, then you really don't know what you're listening to, what you're following. So remember, the devil does not play a fair game. He wants your life. He wants your soul. These demons around here, they cannot operate. They cannot operate without a host body. They can try to torment you, but the only time you really gonna be scared is if you outside of God. Because if you in that prayer every day, oh my goodness, your soul is so strong. It's like they don't even come near you. You can see a demonic force, and you just know, you just feel it, and there's no fear there. I ain't saying play with it. I ain't trying to be like the Avengers of, spirits, but I'm not afraid. I don't flirt with the darkness, but I definitely want to know what's trying to come after me. I feel like there's no way that I could be caught up in giving myself in ignorance to a demonic force, because I know too much. God has placed this teaching on me so that I can talk about it and make it real. All spirits, Jesus has dominion over all spirits. So when your kids are having what they call lucid dreams and they feeling that weight of a malevolent spirit on top of them, they can't move, they can't scream, nothing. They have to call that name, Jesus Christ. You rebuke in the name of Jesus. No, you got to rebuke in the name of Jesus. You have to rebuke, you have to call on that blood. That's why Jesus is such a controversial topic, because Satan wants you confused. He wants you confused. You think your enemy is going to give you something that's going to help you get him out of your life? No. Man, that name of Jesus is powerful. So you teach that to your kids. Teach it to your kids and cling to God. Stay in that word. I ain't saying you got to be all day, every day in it. But if you ain't in it at all, start a habit today. All right? I love you. Have a blessed one.